Maya Chen never imagined that the app she coded in her cramped studio apartment would become the catalyst for the most humiliating family confrontation in their history. What started as her sister Rachel's mocking laughter at a Sunday family barbecue would end with Rachel desperately begging for an investment opportunity while Maya's legal team documented every word for potential restraining order proceedings. But before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from. And if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. The look of panic in Rachel's eyes that day was something Maya would replay in her mind for months afterward. Maya grew up in Portland, Oregon, in a household where academic achievement was expected, but entrepreneurial thinking was viewed with suspicion. Her parents, both longtime employees at Intel, believed in the security of corporate careers and steady paychecks. Her father worked as a senior engineer, while her mother managed supply chain logistics. They had built a comfortable life through careful planning and risk aversion, values they desperately wanted to instill in their two daughters. From early childhood, Maya showed an unusual fascination with how things worked. While other kids played with dolls, she disassembled old electronics her father brought home from work. By age 12, she was building her own computers from spare parts. Her parents encouraged this technical aptitude, seeing it as a path toward a stable engineering career at a major tech company. Maya excelled academically, graduating as valedictorian from her high school before earning a full scholarship to study computer science at Oregon State University. Throughout college, she maintained perfect grades while working part-time at the campus technology help desk. Her professors consistently praised her innovative approach to problem-solving and her ability to see solutions others missed. Rachel, 3 years younger than Maya, took a markedly different approach to life. Where Maya was methodical and introspective, Rachel was impulsive and socially driven. She struggled academically, barely maintaining the grades necessary to stay enrolled in her communications program at Portland State University. Rachel seemed far more interested in social media influence than traditional success metrics, spending hours crafting Instagram posts and building what she called her personal brand. While Maya saw technology as a tool for solving problems, Rachel viewed it primarily as a platform for self-promotion. She would often criticize Maya for spending too much time coding and not enough time building a social presence. Rachel frequently reminded Maya that success in the modern world required visibility and networking, not just technical skills. After graduating with highest honors, Maya landed a software development position at Nike's headquarters in Beaverton. The work was challenging and well compensated, exactly the kind of stable corporate career her parents had envisioned. For 2 years, she contributed to various projects involving data analytics and user experience optimization. Her supervisors consistently rated her performance as exceptional, and she received 2 promotions during her tenure. Despite her professional success, Maya felt increasingly restless. The corporate environment, while secure, stifled her creativity. She found herself developing personal projects in her spare time, small applications that addressed problems she noticed in daily life. Her colleagues often asked her to help with their own technical challenges, from automating repetitive tasks to creating simple tools for personal use. The idea that would change everything came during a particularly frustrating experience trying to coordinate her grandmother's medical appointments. The elderly woman saw multiple specialists across different healthcare systems, and managing the complex schedule of appointments, medications, and care instructions had become a family nightmare. Maya watched her parents struggle with conflicting information, missed appointments, and communication breakdowns between healthcare providers. Traditional patient portal systems were fragmented and difficult for elderly users to navigate. Maya realized that millions of families faced similar challenges managing healthcare for aging relatives. She began sketching out concepts for a comprehensive platform that could aggregate medical information, simplify scheduling, and provide family members with real-time updates about their loved one's care. Working nights and weekends, Maya developed a prototype application she called Care Connect. The platform allowed users to input information from multiple healthcare providers, track medications and appointments, and share updates with family members through an intuitive interface designed specifically for older adults. She incorporated large fonts, simple navigation, and voice command features to make the technology accessible to users who might be intimidated by traditional apps. Testing the prototype with her grandmother revealed immediate positive results. The older woman, who had previously struggled with technology, found CareConnect easy to use and genuinely helpful. Maya's parents were amazed at how much easier it became to coordinate their mother's care once they started using the application. Encouraged by these early results, Maya began researching the market potential for her idea. She discovered that the family caregiving market was massive and underserved, with over 50 million Americans providing care for adult relatives. Most existing solutions were either too complex for elderly users or too simplistic to handle the coordination challenges families faced. Maya spent months refining her business plan, consulting with healthcare professionals, and interviewing potential users about their needs. The feedback was overwhelmingly positive, with many people expressing immediate interest in using such a platform. She began to seriously consider leaving her corporate job to pursue CareConnect full-time. The decision to quit Nike and launch her own company was one of the most difficult Maya had ever made. Her parents were genuinely concerned about her abandoning a secure position for an uncertain startup venture. They had lived through multiple economic downturns and understood how quickly stable employment could disappear. The idea of their daughter voluntarily giving up a good job to chase an entrepreneurial dream filled them with anxiety. Maya's father spent hours trying to talk her out of the decision, citing statistics about startup failure rates and the importance of building a retirement fund early in one's career. Her mother worried about practical considerations like health insurance and housing costs. Both parents viewed Maya's technical skills as valuable assets that should be leveraged within established companies, not risked on unproven ventures. Despite their concerns, Maya ultimately decided to move forward with her plan. She had saved enough money to cover her living expenses for 18 months, and she felt confident that CareConnect addressed a real market need. She gave her notice at Nike and moved into a smaller apartment to reduce her overhead costs. Rachel's reaction to Maya's career change was immediately and consistently negative. During the family dinner where Maya announced her decision, Rachel laughed openly at what she called Maya's midlife crisis. She pointed out that Maya was giving up a six-figure salary to build an app for old people, a demographic that barely used smartphones. Rachel questioned whether Maya understood anything about marketing or business development, suggesting that technical skills alone were insufficient for entrepreneurial success. She reminded everyone at the table that most startups failed within the first year, and that Maya would likely end up crawling back to corporate employment with a gap in her resume and depleted savings. The criticism stung particularly because Rachel had never demonstrated any significant professional accomplishments herself. She had graduated college with mediocre grades and worked a series of entry-level marketing jobs, none lasting more than 18 months. Her longest period of employment had been at a local advertising agency, where she managed social media accounts for small businesses. Rachel frequently posted on Instagram about attending networking events and industry conferences, but Maya noticed that these activities never seemed to translate into career advancement or increased responsibility. Rachel's approach to professional development appeared to focus more on appearing successful than actually achieving measurable results. Maya tried to explain her vision for CareConnect during that first family dinner, describing the market research she had conducted and the positive feedback from potential users. Rachel interrupted repeatedly, questioning Maya's assumptions and pointing out challenges she clearly hadn't considered thoroughly. She asked whether Maya had lined up investors, developed partnerships with healthcare providers, or created a comprehensive marketing strategy. When Maya admitted that she planned to bootstrap the company initially and develop those relationships over time, Rachel shook her head dramatically. She told the family that Maya was being naive about the realities of business development and that successful entrepreneurs raised capital before quitting their day jobs. Rachel's critiques continued throughout the following months as Maya worked to develop CareConnect. Every family gathering became an opportunity for Rachel to ask pointed questions about Maya's progress and offer unsolicited advice about business strategy. She frequently shared articles about startup failures and suggested that Maya reconsider her approach. The constant skepticism from her sister became one of Maya's primary sources of stress during the early months of building her company.
While her parents expressed concern out of love and worry, Rachel's commentary felt deliberately undermining. Maya began to limit what she shared about her work during family events, tired of defending her decisions against someone who had never taken comparable risks. Maya's first major breakthrough came 6 months after leaving Nike, when she successfully completed the technical development of CareConnect's core features. The platform could seamlessly integrate information from multiple healthcare providers, track complex medication schedules, and send automated reminders to both patients and family members. She had also incorporated telehealth features that allowed users to participate in video consultations directly through the app. Testing with a small group of beta users revealed overwhelmingly positive responses. Families reported significant improvements in care coordination and reduced stress around managing medical appointments. Healthcare providers who participated in the beta testing praised the platform's ability to improve communication and reduce administrative overhead. Armed with this validation, Maya began approaching potential investors. Her technical background and the positive beta testing results generated interest from several venture capital firms focused on healthcare technology. She spent weeks preparing pitch presentations and refining her financial projections. Meanwhile, Rachel continued her pattern of skeptical commentary whenever CareConnect was mentioned. At a family birthday party, she asked Maya whether any real investors had expressed interest, suggesting that family friends being polite about the app didn't constitute market validation. When Maya mentioned that she was in discussions with several VC firms, Rachel wondered aloud whether Maya understood the terms of investment deals and whether she would end up giving away most of her company for minimal funding. Maya's first major investor meeting took place at a downtown Portland office with Partners Healthcare Ventures, a fund that specialized in early-stage healthcare technology companies. She presented CareConnect's functionality, demonstrated the user interface, and shared testimonials from beta testing participants. The partners asked detailed questions about her go-to-market strategy, competitive landscape, and long-term vision for the platform. 2 weeks later, Maya received a call offering a seed funding round of $2 million in exchange for 20% equity in CareConnect. The terms were favorable, and the investors brought valuable industry connections and expertise. Maya's first major investor meeting took place at a downtown Portland office with Partners Healthcare Ventures, a fund that specialized in early-stage healthcare technology companies. She presented CareConnect's functionality, demonstrated the user interface, and shared testimonials from beta testing participants. The partners asked detailed questions about her go-to-market strategy, competitive landscape, and long-term vision for the platform. 2 weeks later, Maya received a call offering a seed funding round of $2 million in exchange for 20% equity in CareConnect. The terms were favorable, and the investors brought valuable industry connections and expertise.
Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. Maya accepted the offer after consulting with a startup attorney recommended by the venture capital firm. The news of Maya's successful funding round spread quickly through her professional network and eventually reached her family. Her parents were amazed and proud, though they still worried about the risks involved in startup life. Rachel's reaction was more complex, mixing congratulations with barely concealed envy and continued skepticism about long-term prospects. During the family gathering where Maya announced the investment, Rachel asked detailed questions about the terms of the deal and whether Maya had negotiated effectively. She wondered aloud whether giving up 20% of the company was wise and suggested that Maya might regret not holding out for better terms. Rachel also questioned whether $2 million was sufficient funding for a healthcare technology company, citing articles she had read about other startups raising larger rounds. Maya tried to explain that the funding would allow her to hire additional developers, accelerate product development, and begin marketing to healthcare systems. Rachel nodded along but continued to express doubts about whether Maya had the business experience necessary to manage rapid growth and increased investor expectations. The pattern of Rachel's commentary had shifted subtly but significantly. Instead of outright dismissing CareConnect as a viable business, she now focused on questioning Maya's competence as a business leader and entrepreneur. She suggested that Maya's technical skills, while valuable, might not translate into the strategic thinking required to build a successful company. With funding secured, Maya was able to hire her first employees and move CareConnect into a small office space in Portland's Pearl District. She brought on 2 additional developers, a user experience designer, and a part-time business development consultant. The team worked intensively to refine the platform based on feedback from the beta testing period and prepare for a broader market launch. Maya's days became consumed with product development meetings, investor updates, and business development calls with potential healthcare system partners. She found the work challenging but energizing in ways her corporate job had never been. Every decision directly impacted her company's future, and she could see immediate results from her efforts. CareConnect's official launch generated significant attention from healthcare industry publications and technology blogs. Maya had hired a public relations consultant who secured coverage in several major outlets, highlighting the platform's innovative approach to family caregiving coordination. The initial user adoption exceeded Maya's projections, with hundreds of families signing up within the first month. Rachel's response to the positive press coverage was to share the articles on her own social media accounts, adding commentary about being proud of her sister's accomplishments. However, in private conversations with family members, she continued to express concerns about whether the initial success was sustainable and whether Maya was prepared for the challenges of scaling a technology company. 3 months after launch, Maya received an unexpected inquiry from Providence Health System, one of the largest healthcare networks in the Pacific Northwest. The organization was interested in licensing CareConnect's technology to offer as a service to their patients' families. The potential partnership would provide significant revenue and validate CareConnect's value proposition with a major healthcare provider. Negotiations with Providence took several weeks and required Maya to work with attorneys specializing in healthcare partnerships. The final agreement included both licensing fees and revenue sharing for families who enrolled through Providence's patient portal. The deal represented CareConnect's first major enterprise partnership and provided a clear path toward sustainable growth. When Maya shared news of the Providence partnership during a family dinner, Rachel's reaction was notably different from her previous responses. Instead of skeptical questions about business strategy, she asked whether CareConnect might be open to additional investors and what the process would look like for someone interested in purchasing equity in the company. Maya was surprised by the shift in Rachel's tone, but explained that the company wasn't currently raising additional capital. The Providence partnership provided sufficient cash flow to fund near-term growth plans, and Maya preferred to retain ownership rather than dilute her equity further. She mentioned that future funding rounds might be necessary as the company expanded, but those decisions would depend on growth trajectory and strategic opportunity. Rachel nodded thoughtfully and mentioned that she had some savings she might be interested in investing if the opportunity arose. Maya found this comment puzzling, given Rachel's consistent pattern of criticizing both CareConnect and Maya's business decisions. She wondered whether Rachel's newfound interest in investment opportunities reflected a genuine change of perspective or something else entirely. The success of the Providence partnership led to inquiries from other healthcare systems across the country. Maya found herself traveling frequently to present CareConnect to potential partners and investors. Each new partnership validated her original vision and provided additional revenue streams for the company. As CareConnect's profile grew, Maya began receiving invitations to speak at industry conferences about healthcare technology and entrepreneurship. These speaking opportunities further raised her profile and generated additional interest from potential partners and investors. Local media outlets featured Maya as an example of successful Portland entrepreneurship, and she was named to several rising business leader lists. Rachel's social media presence began to emphasize her connection to Maya's success, with frequent posts about supporting family members in their entrepreneurial endeavors. She shared articles about CareConnect and posted photos from family events with captions highlighting Maya's achievements. The tone of these posts suggested that Rachel had been supportive throughout Maya's journey, which surprised family members who remembered her earlier skepticism. During this period, Rachel began asking Maya for advice about her own career development and expressing interest in transitioning into the technology sector. She wondered whether Maya might have contacts at other startups who were hiring for marketing or business development roles. Maya was willing to help, but noticed that Rachel seemed more interested in discussing CareConnect's growth and financial performance than in seriously pursuing her own opportunities. 6 months after the Providence partnership launched, CareConnect had grown to serve over 10,000 families across multiple healthcare systems. The platform's user engagement metrics were strong, and customer satisfaction surveys showed consistently high ratings. Maya had expanded her team to 15 employees and moved into a larger office space to accommodate continued growth. The company's success attracted attention from larger technology companies interested in acquiring CareConnect or forming strategic partnerships. Maya received several acquisition offers, though none at valuations she considered appropriate given the company's growth trajectory and market potential. She preferred to maintain independence while continuing to build partnerships with healthcare providers. Rachel's interest in CareConnect's business developments became increasingly intense during this period. She asked detailed questions about the company's valuation, revenue growth, and expansion plans. When Maya mentioned receiving acquisition offers, Rachel wanted to know the specific terms and whether Maya was seriously considering selling the company. Maya found Rachel's newfound fascination with business strategy and financial metrics somewhat ironic given her sister's previous dismissal of entrepreneurial endeavors. She began to suspect that Rachel's interest was motivated more by potential personal benefit than genuine curiosity about technology companies or healthcare innovation. The situation came to a head during Maya's birthday celebration, which the family held at an upscale restaurant in downtown Portland. Rachel had insisted on organizing the event and invited several extended family members and mutual friends. Throughout dinner, she made a point of highlighting Maya's business success and describing CareConnect's growth to anyone who would listen. After the meal, Rachel asked Maya to step outside for a private conversation. On the restaurant's patio, away from other family members, Rachel's demeanor shifted dramatically. She explained that she had been following CareConnect's progress closely and believed the company represented an exceptional investment opportunity. Rachel had consulted with a financial advisor and determined that she wanted to invest a significant portion of her savings in Maya's company. Rachel revealed that she had accumulated nearly $50,000 through a combination of savings, inheritance from their grandmother, and proceeds from selling stocks their parents had given her for college graduation. She wanted to purchase equity in CareConnect and become more involved in the company's growth strategy, particularly around marketing and social media presence. Maya was stunned by both the amount of money Rachel claimed to have available and her sudden desire to become involved in CareConnect. She pointed out that Rachel had spent months questioning every aspect of the business and expressing skepticism about its long-term viability. The dramatic shift from critic to potential investor seemed suspiciously convenient given the company's recent success. Rachel insisted that her previous concerns had been motivated by sisterly protectiveness and that seeing CareConnect's achievements had convinced her of its potential. She argued that her marketing background and social media expertise could add significant value to the company's growth efforts. Rachel also mentioned that having family members as investors would align everyone's interests and strengthen their relationship. Maya explained that CareConnect wasn't actively seeking additional investors and that accepting family money could complicate their relationship in ways neither of them anticipated. She also pointed out that Rachel had never expressed genuine interest in healthcare technology or elderly care coordination, the core mission that drove CareConnect's development. Rachel became increasingly insistent as the conversation continued, arguing that Maya was being stubborn and short-sighted about the investment opportunity. She suggested that turning down available capital, especially from family members who truly cared about the company's success, demonstrated poor business judgment. Rachel also hinted that refusing her investment might damage their relationship and disappoint their parents, who would want to see the sisters supporting each other's endeavors. The pressure tactics reminded Maya of Rachel's childhood behavior when she wanted something their parents had given to Maya. Rachel had always been skilled at framing her desires as matters of fairness or family loyalty, making it difficult for others to refuse without appearing selfish or unreasonable. Maya told Rachel that she would consider the proposal, but needed time to think about the implications and discuss the possibility with her existing investors and advisors. Rachel pressed for a more specific timeline, suggesting that waiting too long might miss out on CareConnect's growth opportunity. Maya firmly stated that major decisions about company ownership required careful consideration and that she wouldn't be rushed into any commitments. The conversation ended with Rachel appearing frustrated but agreeing to wait for Maya's decision. As they rejoined the birthday celebration, Rachel's behavior toward Maya became noticeably cooler, though she maintained her enthusiastic praise of CareConnect when talking to other family members. Maya spent the following week consulting with her investors, attorney, and business advisors about Rachel's proposal.
Everyone she spoke with raised concerns about accepting investment from family members, particularly given the complicated dynamics Maya described. Her lead investor warned that family money often came with emotional strings that could complicate business decisions and potentially damage personal relationships. Maya's attorney suggested that if she did consider Rachel's proposal, they would need to draft comprehensive legal agreements clearly defining Rachel's role and expectations. He also recommended conducting formal due diligence on Rachel's financial situation to verify her ability to make the investment without creating personal financial hardship. After careful consideration, Maya decided to decline Rachel's investment offer. She scheduled a lunch meeting at a quiet restaurant where she could explain her reasoning without interruption from other family members. Maya had prepared talking points about maintaining clear boundaries between family relationships and business decisions, but she hoped the conversation would remain civil and understanding. Rachel's reaction to Maya's decision was immediate and intense.
She accused Maya of being controlling and unwilling to share her success with family members who had supported her throughout the journey. Rachel claimed that Maya's refusal demonstrated selfishness and a desire to hoard the benefits of CareConnect's growth rather than including family members in her achievements. Maya tried to explain her concerns about mixing family relationships with business partnerships, citing advice from her investors and attorney. Rachel dismissed these concerns as excuses and suggested that Maya's advisors were trying to limit her options to maintain their own influence over company decisions. The argument escalated as Rachel became increasingly emotional, raising her voice and attracting attention from other restaurant patrons. She accused Maya of forgetting her family's support during difficult periods and of being influenced by outsiders who didn't truly care about her well-being. Rachel also suggested that Maya's success had made her arrogant and unwilling to accept input from people who knew her best. Maya remained calm throughout Rachel's outburst, repeatedly trying to steer the conversation back to her specific concerns about family investment. She emphasized that her decision wasn't personal and that she valued Rachel's support in other ways. However, Rachel seemed determined to interpret the refusal as a fundamental rejection of their relationship and family loyalty. The lunch ended with Rachel storming out of the restaurant after announcing that Maya would regret her decision when CareConnect inevitably faced challenges that family support could have helped address. Maya sat alone for several minutes, processing the confrontation and wondering how their relationship had deteriorated so dramatically over a business decision. In the days following their argument, Rachel's behavior toward Maya shifted dramatically. She stopped sharing CareConnect-related content on social media and began posting subtle criticisms about successful people who forgot their roots and abandoned family members who had supported them. While Rachel never mentioned Maya directly, the timing and content of these posts made their target obvious to anyone who knew their situation. Rachel also began reaching out to mutual friends and extended family members, sharing her version of events and seeking support for her position. She portrayed Maya as having become arrogant and money-focused since CareConnect's success, claiming that Maya no longer valued family relationships or remembered the people who had believed in her from the beginning. Maya learned about Rachel's campaign through concerned friends who received unsolicited calls and messages about the situation. Several people mentioned feeling uncomfortable with Rachel's attempts to involve them in what appeared to be a family dispute. Maya's parents also reported receiving multiple calls from Rachel seeking their support and mediation in the conflict. The situation became more serious when Rachel began contacting CareConnect's business partners and investors, introducing herself as Maya's sister and expressing concerns about the company's leadership and decision-making processes. She suggested that Maya's refusal to accept family investment demonstrated poor judgment and potential problems with stakeholder relationships. Maya discovered Rachel's outreach efforts when a confused investor called to ask about family discord and whether internal conflicts might affect CareConnect's operations. Maya was mortified that her personal family issues were now potentially impacting her professional relationships and company reputation. Maya immediately contacted her attorney to discuss options for addressing Rachel's interference with business relationships. The attorney recommended documenting all of Rachel's communications and contact attempts, as her behavior could potentially constitute tortious interference with business relationships.
if it continued or escalated. Maya also informed her key investors and partners about the situation, explaining that Rachel was acting independently and without any authority to speak on behalf of CareConnect or its leadership. Most of her business contacts were understanding and supportive, recognizing that family conflicts were unfortunately common in entrepreneurial ventures. The final confrontation occurred at their parents' house, during what was supposed to be a family intervention to resolve the conflict between the sisters. Maya's parents had grown increasingly concerned about the dispute and its impact on family relationships, particularly after receiving multiple calls from relatives asking about the situation. Maya arrived at her parents' house to find Rachel already there, along with several family members, including their aunt and uncle. Rachel had apparently convinced their parents that a family meeting was necessary to address what she characterized as Maya's unreasonable behavior and damaged relationship with her sister. Rachel had prepared what amounted to a presentation about Maya's obligations to family members and the importance of sharing success with the people who had provided support during difficult times. She argued that Maya's refusal to accept her investment was symptomatic of larger character changes that had occurred since CareConnect's success. Maya listened to Rachel's presentation with growing disbelief and anger. Rachel was not only mischaracterizing their previous interactions, but also making false claims about the nature of family support during CareConnect's early development. Maya had funded the company's initial development entirely through her own savings and had never asked family members for financial assistance. When Maya began to respond to Rachel's accusations, Rachel interrupted repeatedly and accused her of being defensive and unwilling to accept responsibility for her behavior. The dynamic felt deliberately designed to cast Maya as unreasonable and uncooperative, regardless of what she said in her own defense. Maya finally stood up and addressed the room directly, explaining the timeline of events and Rachel's actual behavior throughout CareConnect's development. She described Rachel's initial mockery and skepticism, her pattern of undermining comments at family gatherings, and her sudden interest in investment opportunities only after the company's success became apparent. Maya also revealed Rachel's recent contact with business partners and investors, explaining how this interference had potentially damaged professional relationships and created unnecessary complications for company operations. She concluded by stating that Rachel's behavior had crossed the line from family disagreement into business interference that could have legal consequences. The room fell silent as family members processed Maya's account of events. Several people admitted that they had been contacted by Rachel seeking support but hadn't understood the full context of her requests. Maya's parents looked genuinely shocked by the revelation that Rachel had contacted Maya's business associates. Rachel's response was to accuse Maya of exaggerating and misrepresenting innocent attempts to understand and support her sister's business. She claimed that her calls to investors had been motivated by concern about Maya's well-being and desire to ensure that she was receiving appropriate guidance from her advisors.
Maya's patience finally reached its breaking point. She told Rachel that her interference with business relationships would stop immediately, or legal action would be necessary to protect CareConnect's operations and reputation. Maya explained that her attorney had already documented Rachel's communications and that continued interference could result in formal legal proceedings. The threat of legal action seemed to shock Rachel, who had apparently not considered that her behavior might have legal consequences. She became defensive and accused Maya of threatening family members with lawsuits over what she characterized as misunderstandings and miscommunications. Maya clarified that she had no desire for legal conflict with family members, but that protection of her company and professional relationships was non-negotiable. She offered Rachel a clear choice: cease all interference with CareConnect's business relationships and stop her campaign against Maya with extended family members, or face formal legal action to prevent continued interference. The family meeting ended with an uncomfortable silence as everyone processed the severity of the situation. Rachel eventually agreed to stop contacting Maya's business associates, but maintained that she had been unfairly characterized and misunderstood throughout the conflict. In the months following the confrontation, Rachel largely avoided family gatherings where Maya would be present. When they did encounter each other at unavoidable events, their interactions were minimal and strained. Rachel's social media presence shifted away from any mention of Maya or CareConnect,
focusing instead on her own career developments and social activities. Maya was relieved that Rachel's interference with business relationships had stopped, but she remained sad about the damage to their family relationship. She had hoped that CareConnect's success might eventually serve as a bridge between their different perspectives and values, but instead it had exposed fundamental differences in how they approached relationships and success. CareConnect continued to grow rapidly throughout the following year, expanding to serve healthcare systems across the country and developing new features based on user feedback. Maya was eventually able to complete a successful Series A funding round that valued the company at $50 million, validating her decision to maintain independence and continue building rather than accepting early acquisition offers. The success brought Maya significant personal satisfaction and financial security, but it also reinforced her appreciation for the importance of surrounding herself with people who supported her vision and values. The contrast between Rachel's conditional support based on personal benefit and the genuine encouragement from friends, mentors, and business partners had been a valuable lesson about the nature of different types of relationships. Maya's parents gradually came to understand the dynamics that had led to the conflict between their daughters. They began to recognize patterns in Rachel's behavior that extended back to childhood and represented ongoing challenges with jealousy and competition rather than isolated incidents related to business decisions. Looking back on the experience, Maya realized that Rachel's initial laughter and skepticism about CareConnect had actually served as motivation during difficult early months of company development. The desire to prove wrong those who doubted her vision had provided additional drive to overcome obstacles and persist through challenges that might otherwise have seemed insurmountable. The irony that Rachel's mockery had ultimately contributed to Maya's success, while Rachel's later desperation to participate had led to family conflict and damaged relationships, was not lost on Maya. Sometimes, the people who dismiss your dreams become the same ones who later want to claim credit for your achievements, and learning to recognize that pattern had been an unexpected but valuable entrepreneurial lesson. Maya's story served as a reminder that success often reveals the true nature of relationships, and that the most important support comes from people who believe in your vision even when the outcome is uncertain. The family members and friends who had encouraged her during CareConnect's uncertain early days remained her closest advisors and supporters, while those who had waited to see results before offering support had revealed their conditional and ultimately unreliable nature. As CareConnect continued to grow and help families across the country coordinate care for their loved ones, Maya found deep satisfaction in knowing that her work was making a genuine difference in people's lives. The platform had evolved far beyond her initial vision, incorporating features and capabilities she hadn't imagined when coding the first prototype in her studio apartment. The success had also provided Maya with opportunities to mentor other entrepreneurs, particularly women in technology, who faced similar challenges around family expectations and risk tolerance. She often shared her story as an example of the importance of persistence in the face of skepticism and the value of staying true to your vision even when others question your judgment. Maya never regretted her decision to decline Rachel's investment offer, recognizing that the family conflict it would have created would ultimately have been far more damaging than any financial benefit it might have provided. The experience had taught her valuable lessons about setting boundaries and protecting both personal relationships and business interests from people who might not have her best interests at heart. The distance between the sisters had been painful but necessary, allowing Maya to focus on building her company and maintaining relationships with people who genuinely supported her goals and values. While she remained hopeful that time might eventually heal the rift with Rachel, Maya had learned not to sacrifice her own well-being or business success for the sake of maintaining relationships with people who were not truly supportive of her dreams and aspirations. The aftermath of the family confrontation left Maya feeling simultaneously relieved and exhausted. Rachel's agreement to cease interference with CareConnect's business relationships had removed an immediate threat, but the underlying tension remained unresolved. Maya threw herself into her work with renewed intensity, finding solace in the tangible progress of building something meaningful, while her personal relationships remained complicated and strained. CareConnect's user base had grown to over 25,000 families within 8 months of launch, and the platform's success metrics continued to exceed industry benchmarks. Maya had expanded her team to include specialists in healthcare compliance, customer success, and business development. The company's Portland headquarters buzzed with activity as employees worked to scale the platform's infrastructure and develop new features requested by healthcare partners. Maya's reputation in the healthcare technology sector grew along her company's success. She received invitations to speak at major industry conferences, and venture capital firms regularly reached out about potential investment opportunities. Technology publications featured CareConnect as an example of innovative solutions addressing real-world healthcare challenges, and Maya was named to several prestigious lists recognizing emerging leaders in health tech. Despite these professional achievements, Maya found herself constantly vigilant about Rachel's potential interference. She had instructed her team to refer any unexpected calls or inquiries about company leadership to her directly, and she monitored social media mentions of CareConnect for any signs of Rachel's continued involvement. The need for this vigilance frustrated Maya, as it represented mental energy that could have been better spent on productive business activities. Rachel's enforced silence regarding CareConnect did not extend to her broader family interactions. She continued to attend family gatherings, but maintained a cold distance from Maya, speaking only when directly addressed and avoiding any acknowledgement of Maya's business achievements.
Rachel's behavior created an uncomfortable atmosphere at family events, with relatives attempting to navigate conversations that might inadvertently touch on topics related to either sister's professional life. Maya's parents struggled with the ongoing tension between their daughters, repeatedly attempting to broker reconciliation through private conversations with each sister. They expressed concern that the business dispute had permanently damaged a relationship that had survived childhood rivalries and young adult disagreements. Maya appreciated her parents' intentions, but recognized that the fundamental issues underlying their conflict extended far beyond the immediate investment dispute. 3 months after the family confrontation, Maya received an unexpected call from Dr. Jennifer Walsh, the chief medical officer at Seattle Children's Hospital. Dr. Walsh explained that she had learned about CareConnect through colleagues at Providence Health System and was interested in exploring a partnership that would extend beyond their current offerings. Seattle Children's wanted to develop a specialized version of the platform specifically designed for families managing pediatric chronic conditions. The conversation with Dr. Walsh opened Maya's perspective to applications for CareConnect that she hadn't previously considered. Families dealing with childhood cancer, diabetes, or other complex medical conditions faced unique coordination challenges that existing healthcare technology didn't adequately address. The potential partnership would require significant platform modifications, but could serve an underserved population with acute needs. Maya assembled a small team to research the pediatric healthcare market and assess the feasibility of developing specialized features for families managing childhood chronic illnesses. The preliminary analysis revealed compelling opportunities, but also significant regulatory and technical challenges that would require substantial investment and expertise. Maya realized that pursuing this direction would necessitate additional funding and potentially strategic partnerships with established pediatric healthcare organizations. During this period of intense business development activity, Maya noticed increased scrutiny of CareConnect's activities from unexpected sources. Several potential healthcare partners mentioned receiving inquiries about the company's stability and leadership team from individuals claiming to represent competing interests. These inquiries were vague but consistent enough to suggest a coordinated effort to undermine confidence in CareConnect's operations. Maya's lead investor, David Chen from Partners Healthcare Ventures, brought this pattern to her attention during a routine quarterly review meeting. David explained that he had received 3 separate calls over the past month from people asking detailed questions about CareConnect's financial performance, leadership capabilities, and long-term viability. The callers had refused to identify themselves or their organizations, claiming only to represent potential strategic partners conducting preliminary due diligence. The sophisticated nature of these inquiries troubled Maya more than Rachel's previous amateur attempts at interference. Someone with business knowledge and understanding of healthcare partnerships was systematically attempting to gather intelligence about CareConnect and potentially damage its reputation with key stakeholders. Maya suspected Rachel's involvement, but couldn't understand how her sister had gained access to industry contacts or developed the expertise necessary to conduct such targeted campaigns.
Maya's attorney, Sandra Rodriguez, recommended hiring a private investigator to determine the source of the suspicious inquiries. Sandra explained that if Rachel was indeed behind the campaign, her continued interference, despite previous agreements, could justify more serious legal action, including restraining orders and potential damages claims. The investigation would also help identify any other parties who might have incentives to undermine CareConnect's business relationships. The private investigator, Marcus Thompson, was a former FBI agent who specialized in corporate intelligence and business disputes. Marcus began by analyzing the timing and content of the suspicious inquiries, looking for patterns that might reveal their source. He also conducted background research on individuals and organizations that might have competitive interests in undermining CareConnect's market position. Within 2 weeks, Marcus had identified several troubling connections. The inquiries about CareConnect were originating from multiple sources, but they all traced back to a small consulting firm called Strategic Healthcare Insights that claimed to provide market research and competitive analysis for healthcare technology companies. Further investigation revealed that Strategic Healthcare Insights was owned by Bradley Morrison, Rachel's former boyfriend and current business partner. Maya remembered Bradley briefly at a family barbecue several months earlier, where Rachel had introduced him as a marketing consultant working with healthcare startups. At the time, Maya had been focused on CareConnect's development and hadn't paid much attention to Rachel's romantic relationships. She now realized that Bradley represented a more serious threat than Rachel's individual efforts, as he possessed genuine industry knowledge and established contacts within the healthcare technology sector. Marcus's investigation revealed that Bradley had been systematically contacting CareConnect's partners and potential investors, presenting himself as conducting routine market research while actually gathering intelligence and subtly undermining confidence in the company. He had also reached out to several of Maya's former Nike colleagues, attempting to gather information about her professional background and work history. The scope and sophistication of Bradley's activities suggested that Rachel had shared detailed information about CareConnect's business operations, strategic plans, and key relationships. Maya felt violated by this betrayal of family confidentiality and concerned about the potential damage to her company's competitive position. She immediately scheduled an emergency meeting with her attorney and lead investor to discuss response options. Sandra Rodriguez explained that Bradley's activities likely constituted unfair business practices and potentially actionable interference with contractual relationships. The evidence gathered by Marcus provided grounds for immediate legal action, including cease and desist orders and potential damages claims. Sandra recommended moving quickly to stop the campaign before it could cause additional damage to CareConnect's business relationships. David Chen supported aggressive legal action, noting that startup companies were particularly vulnerable to reputation damage and that allowing the interference to continue could undermine CareConnect's ability to secure future partnerships and funding. He also suggested that Maya consider notifying key stakeholders about the situation to prevent them from being influenced by misleading information. Maya struggled with the decision to pursue legal action against Rachel and Bradley, recognizing that escalating the conflict would likely end any possibility of reconciliation with her sister.
However, she also understood that protecting CareConnect's operations and her team's livelihoods had to take priority over family relationships. After careful consideration, Maya authorized Sandra to proceed with immediate legal action against both Rachel and Bradley. The cease and desist letters were delivered simultaneously to Rachel and Bradley on a Friday afternoon, demanding immediate cessation of all activities related to CareConnect and threatening formal litigation if the interference continued. Sandra had documented the campaign extensively, including recorded phone conversations with confused healthcare executives who had received Bradley's calls and detailed timelines of suspicious activities. Rachel's response to the legal notice was immediate and explosive. She called Maya's parents within hours of receiving the letter, claiming that Maya was using expensive lawyers to intimidate family members and destroy their relationship. Rachel portrayed herself as an innocent victim of Maya's paranoia and business success gone to her head, conveniently omitting her partnership with Bradley or the specific activities that had prompted legal action. Maya's parents called her that evening, expressing concern about the legal escalation and asking whether such drastic measures were truly necessary. They hadn't been aware of the extent of Rachel's ongoing interference or her collaboration with Bradley, having assumed that the sisters' conflict had been resolved after the family meeting months earlier. Maya spent over an hour explaining the investigation's findings and the potential damage to CareConnect from the coordinated campaign. Bradley's response was more measured but equally concerning. Through his own attorney, he denied any wrongdoing and claimed that his inquiries about CareConnect were routine market research activities that didn't violate any laws or ethical standards. He characterized Maya's legal action as an attempt to intimidate legitimate business competitors and suggested that her claims were motivated by paranoia rather than actual harm. Sandra Rodriguez had anticipated this response and was prepared to demonstrate that Bradley's activities went far beyond routine market research. The evidence included recorded conversations where Bradley had made misleading statements about CareConnect's financial stability, transcripts of emails where he had suggested that Maya lacked the experience necessary to lead a healthcare technology company, and documentation of his attempts to contact Maya's former colleagues for negative information about her professional background. The legal proceedings moved quickly, with both Rachel and Bradley ultimately agreeing to comprehensive settlements that included not only cessation of all interference activities, but also public statements retracting any negative claims they had made about CareConnect or Maya. Bradley's Strategic Healthcare Insights was required to contact all organizations they had reached out to regarding CareConnect and formally retract their previous statements. Rachel's settlement included additional provisions requiring her to cease all social media commentary about Maya or CareConnect and to refrain from discussing Maya's business with any third parties outside their immediate family. The agreement also included financial penalties for any future violations, making the consequences of continued interference financially significant for Rachel. The resolution of the legal situation allowed Maya to refocus her energy on CareConnect's growth and development. The company had weathered the interference campaign without significant damage, largely because Maya's existing partners and investors had confidence in her leadership and the platform's value proposition. Several healthcare executives had actually reached out to warn Maya about the suspicious inquiries, demonstrating the strength of relationships she had built within the industry. CareConnect's partnership with Seattle Children's Hospital proceeded successfully, with the specialized pediatric platform launching 6 months after their initial conversation. The pediatric version of CareConnect incorporated features specifically designed for managing complex medication schedules, coordinating multiple specialist appointments, and facilitating communication between families and healthcare teams managing childhood chronic conditions. The success of the pediatric platform attracted attention from other children's hospitals and sparked interest from pharmaceutical companies developing treatments for pediatric conditions. Maya realized that CareConnect had evolved from a simple care coordination tool into a comprehensive platform that could support various specialized healthcare needs. This evolution opened new market opportunities and positioned the company for significant expansion. Maya's leadership team had grown to include experienced executives recruited from established healthcare technology companies. Her role evolved from hands-on product development to strategic planning and business development, though she maintained close involvement in technical decisions and product direction. The transition to delegating operational responsibilities allowed Maya to focus on longer-term vision and market expansion opportunities. The company completed a successful Series B funding round 18 months after the legal resolution, raising $35 million from a consortium of healthcare-focused venture capital firms. The funding enabled CareConnect to accelerate expansion into new geographic markets and develop additional specialized platforms for different healthcare populations. Maya retained majority control of the company while gaining access to the capital and expertise necessary for national scale. Maya's personal life gradually recovered from the stress and distraction of the family conflict. She developed closer relationships with friends and colleagues who had supported her throughout the challenging period, and she began dating a fellow entrepreneur she met through a healthcare innovation conference. The relationship provided emotional support and understanding from someone who appreciated the demands and pressures of building a technology company. Rachel's life took a different trajectory following the legal settlement. Her relationship with Bradley ended acrimoniously after the legal proceedings, and she struggled to find stable employment in the marketing field. Several potential employers had learned about her involvement in the CareConnect interference campaign, and her professional reputation suffered accordingly. Rachel eventually moved back in with their parents while pursuing additional education and attempting to rebuild her career. The sisters' relationship remained essentially non-existent for over 2 years following the legal settlement. They attended family gatherings on alternate schedules to avoid interaction, and their parents had accepted that reconciliation was unlikely in the foreseeable future. Maya felt sadness about the permanent rift, but recognized that Rachel's actions had crossed boundaries that made trust impossible to rebuild. Maya's professional success continued to accelerate, with CareConnect becoming one of the most recognized names in healthcare technology. The platform served over 100,000 families across the United States and had partnerships with major healthcare systems in 12 states. Maya was featured on magazine covers as an example of successful female entrepreneurship and was invited to join advisory boards for healthcare innovation initiatives. The company's success enabled Maya to establish a foundation focused on supporting technology education for underprivileged youth, particularly young women interested in computer science and engineering. The foundation provided scholarships, mentorship programs, and resources for schools in underserved communities to develop technology curricula.
Maya found deep satisfaction in creating opportunities for others to pursue technical education and entrepreneurial ventures. 3 years after the legal settlement, Maya received an unexpected email from Rachel. The message was brief and formal, congratulating Maya on CareConnect's recent acquisition by a major healthcare corporation for $800 million. Rachel acknowledged that she had been wrong about Maya's business prospects and expressed regret for the conflict that had damaged their relationship. The email concluded with a request to meet for coffee if Maya was open to the possibility. Maya read the email several times before deciding how to respond. The acquisition had indeed been a major milestone, representing validation of her vision and providing financial security beyond anything she had imagined when developing the original prototype in her studio apartment. The success felt bittersweet given the family relationships that have been damaged along the way, but Maya recognized that Rachel's interference had ultimately made her a stronger leader and more careful about protecting her business interests. After consulting with friends and her therapist, Maya agreed to meet Rachel for coffee at a neutral location. The conversation was awkward but civil, with Rachel appearing genuinely remorseful about her past behavior and the consequences it had created for both sisters. Rachel shared that she had completed a degree in nonprofit management and was working for an organization supporting women entrepreneurs, finding fulfillment in helping others achieve their business goals rather than pursuing them herself. Rachel explained that the experience of losing relationships and professional opportunities due to her jealousy and poor decisions had forced her to confront patterns of behavior that had been developing since childhood. She has spent considerable time in therapy working on issues related to self-worth, competition with others, and the difference between supporting someone's success and attempting to profit from it. Maya appreciated Rachel's apparent growth and introspection, but remained cautious about rebuilding trust. She shared that CareConnect's success had brought her fulfillment, but also taught her valuable lessons about the importance of surrounding herself with people who supported her vision, regardless of the outcome. Maya acknowledged that Rachel's initial skepticism had actually motivated her to work harder and prove her concept, though she didn't minimize the damage caused by Rachel's later interference. The sisters agreed to maintain limited contact and to avoid any discussions of Maya's business activities or future plans. The relationship would likely never return to the closeness they had shared as children, but they could coexist peacefully at family events and maintain basic civility. Maya felt closure about the conflict while recognizing that some damaged relationships couldn't be fully repaired regardless of apologies or changed behavior. Maya's parents were relieved that their daughters had achieved some level of reconciliation, even if their relationship remained distant and formal. The family dynamics gradually normalized around the understanding that Rachel and Maya would maintain separate spheres of activity and avoid topics that might resurrect past conflicts. Holiday gatherings became less tense, though they never regained the warmth and spontaneity of earlier years. Looking back on the entire experience, Maya recognized that Rachel's laughter at her business idea had been the beginning of a journey that ultimately led to extraordinary professional success and personal growth. The skepticism and interference had forced Maya to develop resilience, protect her vision from external criticism, and build a company culture that valued authentic support over conditional encouragement based on visible success. The legal proceedings had taught Maya valuable lessons about business protection and the importance of documentation when dealing with potential threats to company operations. These skills proved invaluable as CareConnect grew and faced various competitive and regulatory challenges. Maya's experience handling family interference prepared her for more sophisticated business disputes and negotiations throughout her entrepreneurial career. Maya often shared her story with other entrepreneurs, particularly women who faced skepticism about their business ideas or pressure from family members who didn't understand their entrepreneurial goals. She emphasized the importance of staying true to your vision while being prepared to protect your business from people who might not have your best interest at heart, even when those people were family members. The success of CareConnect had transformed Maya's life in ways that extended far beyond financial security. She had discovered capabilities and strengths she hadn't known she possessed, developed valuable relationships with industry leaders and investors, and created a product that genuinely improved people's lives. The platform's impact on families managing complex healthcare challenges provided daily motivation and confirmed that her original vision had been worth pursuing despite the obstacles and interference. Maya's story became a case study in business goals about the challenges of entrepreneurship, family dynamics, and the importance of protecting intellectual property and business relationships. Students analyzed the decision points throughout her journey and debated alternative approaches to handling family interference and competitive threats. Maya occasionally guest lectured in these classes, sharing insights about the practical and emotional challenges of building a company while managing complex personal relationships. The foundation Maya established continued to grow and expand its impact, eventually supporting hundreds of young women pursuing technology education and entrepreneurial ventures. Many of the foundation's scholarship recipients went on to found their own companies or join leadership teams at established technology firms. Maya found particular satisfaction in mentoring young entrepreneurs who face family skepticism or other obstacles similar to those she had encountered. Rachel's career in nonprofit management proved to be a better fit for her personality and values than her previous attempts at corporate marketing. She developed expertise in program management and fundraising, eventually becoming the executive director of the organization supporting women entrepreneurs. Rachel's work provided
provided meaning and professional satisfaction while allowing her to channel her competitive instincts into supporting others rather than undermining them. The transformation in Rachel's career and personal approach to success represented genuine growth that extended beyond the immediate consequences of her conflict with Maya. She had learned to find fulfillment in collaborative achievement rather than individual competition, and her professional success in the nonprofit sector validated her ability to build something meaningful when properly focused and motivated. Maya's acquisition of CareConnect by a major healthcare corporation provided resources to expand the platform's reach and impact while allowing Maya to maintain involvement in strategic decisions and product development. The acquisition team recognized Maya's unique vision and expertise, retaining her as a senior executive responsible for innovation and new market development. The role combined the resources of a large organization with the entrepreneurial freedom Maya valued. The financial proceeds from the acquisition enabled Maya to invest in other healthcare technology startups and to significantly expand her foundation's activities. She became an active angel investor, particularly interested in supporting women entrepreneurs developing solutions for healthcare challenges.
Maya's investment approach emphasized both financial returns and social impact, reflecting the values that had driven her own entrepreneurial journey. Years later, Maya reflected on how dramatically her life had changed since the day she first conceived of CareConnect while struggling to coordinate her grandmother's medical appointments. The simple observation that healthcare coordination was unnecessarily difficult for families had evolved into a comprehensive platform serving hundreds of thousands of people and generating hundreds of millions of dollars in value. The journey from idea to execution to acquisition had tested every aspect of Maya's character and capabilities. The family conflict with Rachel, while painful and disruptive, had ultimately strengthened Maya's resolve and clarified her values. Learning to protect her vision and business from people who didn't share her commitment was an essential skill for entrepreneurial success. Maya recognized that the ability to distinguish between constructive criticism and destructive interference was crucial for any entrepreneur, particularly when dealing with family members whose motivations might be complicated by personal dynamics. Maya's story served as inspiration for countless entrepreneurs who faced skepticism about their ideas or interference from people close to them. The transformation from Rachel's laughter at a business idea to her desperate attempt to invest and then to her legal defeat provided a satisfying narrative of justice and vindication. More importantly, it demonstrated that entrepreneurial success required persistence in the face of criticism and the wisdom to protect valuable relationships while building boundaries against those who might undermine your progress. The platform Maya had built continued to evolve and expand, incorporating new technologies and serving additional healthcare populations. The original vision of simplifying healthcare coordination for families had grown into a comprehensive ecosystem supporting various aspects of medical care management. Maya's role in the platform's ongoing development ensured that her original values of accessibility and user-centered design remained central to its evolution. The success Maya achieved validated her decision to leave corporate security and pursue an uncertain entrepreneurial path. The journey had required sacrifice, resilience, and difficult decisions about family relationships, but it had also provided meaning, impact, and financial rewards beyond anything she could have achieved in traditional employment. Maya's experience demonstrated that entrepreneurial success was possible for those willing to persist through obstacles and protect their vision from those who would undermine it. 5 years after the acquisition of CareConnect, Maya found herself standing in the ballroom of the Portland Hilton, preparing to deliver the keynote address at the Pacific Northwest Healthcare Innovation Summit. The irony wasn't lost on her that she was speaking to an audience that included many of the same healthcare executives who had once received Bradley's misleading calls about her company's stability. Tonight, they would hear about CareConnect's transformation into the leading patient care coordination platform in North America, serving over 2 million families and integrated with healthcare systems across 3 countries. Maya's role as Chief Innovation Officer at MedTech Solutions, the corporation that had acquired CareConnect, provided her with resources and reach she could never have achieved as an independent startup. The acquisition had been structured to preserve CareConnect's entrepreneurial culture while leveraging MedTech's infrastructure and relationships to accelerate expansion. Maya maintained control over product development and strategic direction, while MedTech handled regulatory compliance, international expansion, and enterprise sales. The partnership had exceeded everyone's expectations, with CareConnect's revenue growing by 400% in the 3 years since acquisition. The platform had expanded beyond family caregiving to include chronic disease management, post-acute care coordination, and preventive health tracking. Maya's team had developed specialized modules for conditions ranging from diabetes management to cancer care coordination, each designed with the same user-centered approach that had made the original platform successful.
Standing before the microphone, Maya looked out at an audience of over 800 healthcare executives, technology leaders, and policymakers. Many faces were familiar from her years building relationships in the industry, and she noticed several people who had supported CareConnect during its early development. The recognition felt validating, but Maya's primary focus remained on sharing insights that could help others build solutions to persistent healthcare challenges. Maya began her presentation by describing the grandmother whose struggle with medical appointment coordination had inspired CareConnect's development. She shared photos of the original prototype interface and laughed about the crude design that had somehow convinced her first beta testers to provide feedback. The audience responded warmly to her self-deprecating humor about early mistakes and the learning process that had shaped her approach to product development. Transitioning to more serious content, Maya discussed the broader implications of patient care coordination for healthcare outcomes and costs. She presented data showing that families using CareConnect experienced 23% fewer missed appointments, 31% better medication adherence, and significantly improved satisfaction with their healthcare experience. The platform's impact on healthcare system efficiency was equally impressive, with partner organizations reporting reduced administrative overhead and improved care team communication. Maya's presentation included case studies demonstrating CareConnect's impact on specific patient populations. She shared the story of the Martinez family, whose 8-year-old daughter's leukemia treatment had been transformed by the pediatric platform. Before using CareConnect, the family had struggled to coordinate appointments with 6 different specialists while managing a complex medication schedule and maintaining communication with their daughter's school about her treatment needs. The platform had streamlined these processes and provided peace of mind during an extraordinarily stressful period. Another case study featured the elderly couple, Robert and Margaret Kim, whose management of Robert's Alzheimer's disease had been significantly improved through CareConnect's caregiver support features. Margaret had been overwhelmed by the complexity of coordinating medical appointments, managing medications, and communicating with family members about Robert's condition. The platform's automated reminders, medication tracking, and family communication tools had reduced Margaret's stress while ensuring Robert received consistent, coordinated care. Maya emphasized that CareConnect's success had resulted from obsessive focus on user experience and genuine understanding of the challenges families faced when navigating complex healthcare systems. She criticized technology solutions that prioritized impressive features over practical utility and argued that sustainable healthcare innovation required deep empathy for end users rather than superficial application of emerging technologies. The presentation concluded with Maya's vision for the future of patient care coordination, including artificial intelligence applications that could predict care needs and prevent health complications before they occurred. She described research partnerships with leading medical schools to develop predictive models that could identify patients at risk for medication non-adherence or care coordination breakdowns. These proactive interventions could potentially prevent hospitalizations and improve long-term health outcomes while reducing healthcare costs. During the question and answer session following her presentation, Maya fielded inquiries about regulatory challenges, competitive threats, and strategies for scaling healthcare technology solutions. Her responses demonstrated the depth of knowledge she had developed about healthcare policy, technology implementation, and business strategy during her years building and expanding CareConnect. The platform had built continued to evolve and expand, incorporating new technologies and serving additional healthcare populations. The original vision of simplifying healthcare coordination for families had grown into a comprehensive ecosystem supporting various aspects of medical care management. Maya's role in the platform's ongoing development ensured that her original values of accessibility and user-centered design remained central to its evolution. The success Maya achieved validated her decision to leave corporate security and pursue an uncertain entrepreneurial path. The journey had required sacrifice, resilience, and difficult decisions about family relationships, but it had also provided meaning, impact, and financial rewards beyond anything she could have achieved in traditional employment. Maya's experience demonstrated that entrepreneurial success was possible for those willing to persist through obstacles and protect their vision from those who would undermine it. 5 years after the acquisition of CareConnect, Maya found herself standing in the ballroom of the Portland Hilton, preparing to deliver the keynote address at the Pacific Northwest Healthcare Innovation Summit. The irony wasn't lost on her that she was speaking to an audience that included many of the same healthcare executives who had once received Bradley's misleading calls about her company's stability.
Tonight, they would hear about CareConnect's transformation into the leading patient care coordination platform in North America, serving over 2 million families and integrated with healthcare systems across 3 countries. Maya's role as Chief Innovation Officer at MedTech Solutions, the corporation that had acquired CareConnect, provided her with resources and reach she could never have achieved as an independent startup. The acquisition had been structured to preserve CareConnect's entrepreneurial culture while leveraging MedTech's infrastructure and relationships to accelerate expansion. Maya maintained control over product development and strategic direction, while MedTech handled regulatory compliance, international expansion, and enterprise sales. The partnership had exceeded everyone's expectations, with CareConnect's revenue growing by 400% in the 3 years since acquisition. The platform had expanded beyond family caregiving to include chronic disease management, post-acute care coordination, and preventive health tracking. Maya's team had developed specialized modules for conditions ranging from diabetes management to cancer care coordination, each designed with the same user-centered approach that had made the original platform successful. Standing before the microphone, Maya looked out at an audience of over 800 healthcare executives, technology leaders, and policymakers. Many faces were familiar from her years building relationships in the industry, and she noticed several people who had supported CareConnect during its early development. The recognition felt validating, but Maya's primary focus remained on sharing insights that could help others build solutions to persistent healthcare challenges. Maya began her presentation by describing the grandmother whose struggle with medical appointment coordination had inspired CareConnect's development. She shared photos of the original prototype interface and laughed about the crude design that had somehow convinced her first beta testers to provide feedback. The audience responded warmly to her self-deprecating humor about early.
The findings could inform future development priorities and help identify barriers that prevented some populations from fully benefiting from technology-assisted care coordination. Returning to Portland after the Seattle meetings, Maya was surprised to find a voicemail from her mother requesting a call about an urgent family matter. Maya's parents had maintained a careful neutrality regarding her ongoing estrangement from Rachel, occasionally sharing updates about Rachel's life, but avoiding any pressure for reconciliation. The urgent tone of her mother's message was unusual and concerning. Maya called her mother immediately upon arriving home, learning that Rachel had been hospitalized following a serious car accident. While Rachel's injuries weren't life-threatening, she had suffered a concussion and multiple fractures that would require extensive rehabilitation. Maya's parents were managing Rachel's care coordination and had been overwhelmed by the complexity of communicating with multiple specialists and managing her treatment schedule. Maya's mother hesitantly mentioned that she had been using CareConnect to help organize Rachel's medical information and appointment schedule. The irony of using Maya's platform to coordinate care for the sister who had once mocked its value wasn't lost on any of them. Maya's mother explained that the platform had been enormously helpful during a stressful and overwhelming period, and she wanted Maya to know how much the family appreciated the tool she had created. The conversation with her mother brought up complicated emotions Maya hadn't expected. Despite their estrangement, learning about Rachel's accident and suffering generated genuine concern and sadness. Maya realized that regardless of their conflict and damaged relationship, Rachel remained her sister and someone she had once cared about deeply. Maya offered to help her parents navigate Rachel's care coordination in any way possible, including providing additional platform features or connecting them with healthcare resources. Her mother gratefully accepted the offer and mentioned that Rachel had also expressed appreciation for the platform's usefulness during her recovery. The acknowledgement represented the first positive comment Rachel had made about CareConnect since their initial conflict years earlier. Maya spent the following weeks working with her parents to optimize Rachel's care coordination through CareConnect while maintaining appropriate emotional distance from the situation. The experience provided valuable insights into how the platform could be improved to serve families dealing with sudden medical crises rather than chronic conditions requiring long-term coordination. The accident and its aftermath also prompted Maya to reflect on the personal costs of her entrepreneurial success and the relationships that had been damaged during her journey. While she didn't regret protecting CareConnect from Rachel's interference, Maya wondered whether different approaches might have preserved their family relationship while still achieving business success.
Maya's introspection was interrupted by exciting news from her product development team about breakthrough results from their artificial intelligence research collaboration with Stanford. The predictive models had successfully identified patients at risk for care coordination problems with over 80% accuracy, enabling healthcare providers to intervene proactively in most cases where complications would otherwise have occurred. The artificial intelligence breakthrough positioned CareConnect for another major evolution, potentially transforming the platform from reactive coordination tool to proactive health management system. Maya immediately began planning the integration of predictive capabilities into CareConnect's core functionality, recognizing that this innovation could revolutionize healthcare delivery and patient outcomes. Maya's team spent months developing user interfaces and workflows that would enable healthcare providers to act on artificial intelligence predictions without overwhelming them with alerts or false positives. The challenge was presenting predictive insights in ways that enhanced clinical decision-making rather than creating additional administrative burdens for already busy healthcare teams. The development process required extensive collaboration with healthcare providers to understand their workflows and information needs. Maya personally visited dozens of hospitals and clinics to observe how care teams operated and identify opportunities for artificial intelligence to genuinely improve their efficiency and effectiveness. These site visits reinforced Maya's belief that successful healthcare technology required deep understanding of clinical environments rather than superficial application of impressive technological capabilities. She observed many examples of well-intentioned technology solutions that had failed because they didn't align with the realities of healthcare delivery or the needs of busy medical professionals. Maya's commitment to user-centered design had been central to CareConnect's success, and she insisted on maintaining this approach as the platform evolved to incorporate artificial intelligence capabilities. The predictive features needed to feel like natural extensions of existing workflows rather than additional systems that required separate attention and management. After 18 months of development and testing, CareConnect's artificial intelligence-enhanced platform was ready for pilot deployment with select healthcare partners. Maya chose to launch the pilot with Seattle Children's Hospital, recognizing that Dr. Walsh and her team's deep understanding of the platform's capabilities would provide valuable feedback about the artificial intelligence feature's clinical utility. The pilot results exceeded everyone's expectations, with Seattle Children's reporting that proactive interventions based on artificial intelligence predictions had prevented an estimated 40% of potential care coordination problems during the 6-month testing period. The interventions ranged from simple medication reminders to complex care team communications that prevented missed appointments and treatment delays. Dr. Walsh's feedback emphasized that the artificial intelligence features felt intuitive and supportive rather than intrusive or overwhelming. The predictions were presented as helpful suggestions rather than mandatory alerts, allowing healthcare providers to exercise clinical judgment about when and how to intervene based on their knowledge of individual patients and families. The success of the artificial intelligence pilot attracted attention from major healthcare systems across the country, leading to a waiting list of organizations wanting to participate in expanded testing. Maya realized that CareConnect was positioned to lead a fundamental transformation in healthcare delivery, shifting from reactive problem-solving to proactive prevention of care coordination breakdowns. Maya's leadership team developed a comprehensive rollout plan for the artificial intelligence features, prioritizing healthcare systems with strong technology infrastructure and demonstrated commitment to innovation. The rollout would be carefully managed to ensure successful implementation while gathering data about the feature's impact across different healthcare environments and patient populations. During this period of rapid innovation and expansion, Maya received an unexpected email from Rachel. The message was longer and more personal than their previous communications, describing her recovery process and her observations about healthcare coordination challenges from a patient's perspective. Rachel shared that experiencing the complexity of managing multiple specialists and treatment plans had given her new appreciation for the problems CareConnect was designed to solve. Rachel's email continued with an acknowledgement that her previous criticism of CareConnect had been motivated by jealousy and insecurity rather than genuine concern about business viability.
She expressed regret about the interference campaign and its impact on Maya's business relationships, recognizing that her actions had been destructive and potentially damaging to Maya's professional reputation. The email concluded with Rachel's observation that Maya's success with CareConnect had ultimately benefited their entire family by providing a tool that was helping coordinate their mother's care as she aged and developed chronic health conditions. Rachel acknowledged that Maya's vision and persistence had created something genuinely valuable that was making a difference in people's lives, including their own family's experience. Maya read Rachel's email several times before deciding how to respond. The tone was markedly different from Rachel's previous communications, suggesting genuine reflection and growth rather than strategic positioning for personal benefit. Maya appreciated the acknowledgement of CareConnect's value and Rachel's acceptance of responsibility for her previous behavior. Maya crafted a careful response acknowledging Rachel's message and expressing hope that her recovery was progressing well. She avoided addressing the business-related aspects of Rachel's email in detail, preferring to maintain boundaries between family relationships and professional activities. Maya concluded by wishing Rachel well and leaving the door open for future communication without committing to specific interaction. The exchange with Rachel prompted Maya to consider the broader impact of CareConnect beyond its business success and technological innovation. The platform was genuinely improving healthcare experiences for millions of families, including her own extended family members, who had initially been skeptical of its value. Maya found satisfaction in knowing that her work was making a meaningful difference in people's lives during some of their most challenging and vulnerable moments. Maya's reflection on CareConnect's impact was reinforced by the thousands of testimonials and success stories the platform received from users. Families regularly shared how CareConnect had reduced stress, improved communication with healthcare providers, and helped them navigate complex medical situations with greater confidence and organization. These testimonials provided daily motivation for Maya and her team to continue innovating and expanding CareConnect's capabilities. Each story represented a family whose healthcare experience had been improved by the platform's features, validating Maya's original vision and inspiring continued development efforts. Maya's success with CareConnect had also created opportunities to support other entrepreneurs developing healthcare technology solutions. She had become an active angel investor, focusing on startups led by women and underrepresented founders who were addressing healthcare challenges in innovative ways. Maya's investment approach emphasized both financial returns and social impact, reflecting her belief that successful businesses should generate value for society as well as shareholders. Through her angel investing activities, Maya mentored dozens of early-stage entrepreneurs, sharing lessons learned during CareConnect's development and helping them navigate the challenges of building healthcare technology companies. Many of her portfolio companies had achieved successful exits or secured major partnership agreements, demonstrating the value of experienced guidance during critical development phases. Maya's mentorship extended beyond formal investment relationships to include speaking at entrepreneurship programs, serving as a judge for business plan competitions, and providing informal advice to aspiring founders who approached her at industry events. She found particular satisfaction in supporting women entrepreneurs who faced skepticism about their technical capabilities or business acumen, having experienced similar challenges during CareConnect's early development. One of Maya's mentees, Dr. Lisa Park, had developed a platform for managing mental health treatment coordination that was experiencing rapid growth similar to CareConnect's early trajectory. Dr. Park's company, MindBridge, had adapted many of the user experience principles that had made CareConnect successful, while focusing specifically on the unique challenges of mental health care coordination. Maya's advice to Dr. Park emphasized the importance of maintaining focus on user needs rather than pursuing impressive but unnecessary features that could complicate the platform without improving outcomes. She also shared insights about protecting the company from potential interference while building authentic relationships with healthcare providers and patient advocates. The success of Maya's mentees reflected her belief that the healthcare technology sector needed diverse perspectives and innovative approaches to address persistent challenges in care delivery. By supporting entrepreneurs from different backgrounds and with different expertise areas, Maya was contributing to a more inclusive and innovative healthcare technology ecosystem. Maya's broader impact extended to her work on healthcare policy through advisory roles with government agencies and nonprofit organizations focused on health technology regulation and innovation.
She had testified before congressional committees about the potential for technology to improve healthcare quality while reducing costs, advocating for regulatory frameworks that encourage innovation while protecting patient safety and privacy. Maya's policy work was informed by her practical experience building and deploying healthcare technology at scale, providing policymakers with insights about the real-world challenges and opportunities associated with digital health innovation. She frequently emphasized the importance of regulations that were flexible enough to accommodate rapid technological change while maintaining appropriate oversight of patient data and care quality. Through her policy advocacy, Maya had influenced several important regulatory decisions that facilitated innovation in healthcare technology while maintaining patient protections. Her testimony had been cited in congressional reports and regulatory guidance documents, demonstrating the impact of her expertise on healthcare technology policy development. Maya's influence on healthcare technology extended beyond CareConnect's direct impact to include her role in shaping industry standards and best practices for patient care coordination platforms. She had participated in developing industry guidelines for data privacy, interoperability, and user experience design that were being adopted by healthcare technology companies across the sector. These industry leadership activities reflected Maya's commitment to elevating the entire healthcare technology sector rather than simply promoting CareConnect's competitive advantages. She believed that collaborative improvement of industry standards would ultimately benefit all patients by ensuring that healthcare technology solutions met high standards for quality and effectiveness. Maya's industry leadership was recognized through numerous awards and honors, including being named Healthcare Entrepreneur of the Year by the National Association of Health Technology Executives and receiving the Innovation in Patient Care Award from the American Medical Association. These recognitions validated Maya's contributions to healthcare improvement while raising CareConnect's profile within the medical community. The awards and recognition also provided platforms for Maya to share her vision for the future of healthcare technology and patient care coordination. She regularly spoke at major medical conferences about the potential for artificial intelligence and predictive analytics to transform healthcare delivery, while emphasizing the continued importance of human connection and empathy in medical care. Maya's speaking engagements often included discussions of the personal journey behind CareConnect's development, including the family conflicts and business challenges she had overcome during the company's growth. These personal elements made her presentations more relatable and inspiring for audiences of healthcare providers and technology professionals who faced their own obstacles in improving patient care. One of Maya's mentees, Dr. Lisa Park, had developed a platform for managing mental health treatment coordination that was experiencing rapid growth similar to CareConnect's early trajectory. Dr. Park's company, MindBranch, had adapted many of the user experience principles that had made CareConnect successful while focusing specifically on the unique challenges of mental health care coordination. Maya's advice to Dr. Park emphasized the importance of maintaining focus on user needs rather than pursuing impressive but unnecessary features that could complicate the platform without improving outcomes. She also shared insights about protecting the company from potential interference while building authentic relationships with healthcare providers and patient advocates. The success of Maya's mentees reflected her belief that the healthcare technology sector needed diverse perspectives and innovative approaches to address persistent challenges in care delivery. By supporting entrepreneurs from different backgrounds and with different expertise areas, Maya was contributing to a more inclusive and innovative healthcare technology ecosystem. Maya's broader impact extended to her work on healthcare policy through advisory roles with government agencies and nonprofit organizations focused on health technology regulation and innovation. She had testified before congressional committees about the potential for technology to improve healthcare quality while reducing costs, advocating for regulatory frameworks that encourage innovation while protecting patients' safety and privacy. Maya's policy work was informed by her practical experience building and deploying healthcare technology at scale, providing policymakers with insights about the real-world challenges and opportunities associated with digital health innovation. She frequently emphasized the importance of regulations that were flexible enough to accommodate rapid technological change while maintaining appropriate oversight of patient data and care quality. Through her policy advocacy, Maya had influenced several important regulatory decisions that facilitated innovation in healthcare technology while maintaining patient protections. Her testimony had been cited in congressional reports and regulatory guidance documents, demonstrating the impact of her expertise on healthcare technology policy development. Maya's influence on healthcare technology extended beyond CareConnect's direct impact to include her role in shaping industry standards and best practices for patient care coordination platforms. She had participated in developing industry guidelines for data privacy, interoperability, and user experience design that were being adopted by healthcare technology companies across the sector. These industry leadership activities reflected Maya's commitment to elevate the entire healthcare technology sector, rather than simply promoting CareConnect's competitive advantages. She believed that collaborative improvement of industry standards would ultimately benefit all patients by ensuring that healthcare solutions met high standards for quality and effectiveness. Maya's industry leadership was recognized through numerous awards and honors, including being named Healthcare Entrepreneur of the Year by the National Association of Health Technology Executives and receiving the Innovation in Patient Care Award from the American Medical Association. These recognitions validated her contributions to healthcare improvement.
As CareConnect approached its 7th anniversary, Maya reflected on the extraordinary journey from her grandmother's healthcare coordination challenges to building a platform that served millions of families worldwide. The platform had evolved far beyond her original vision, while maintaining its core focus on simplifying healthcare navigation for patients and families. Maya's role had similarly evolved from hands-on product development to strategic leadership and industry influence, though she maintained close involvement in major product decisions and user experience design. The transition to broader leadership responsibilities had been challenging but ultimately rewarding, enabling Maya to impact healthcare delivery at a scale she couldn't have achieved through CareConnect alone. The personal costs of entrepreneurial success remained complex and sometimes painful, particularly regarding her relationship with Rachel and the family dynamics that had been permanently altered by their conflict. Maya had learned to accept that some relationships couldn't survive the pressures and changes associated with building a successful company, while valuing those connections that had grown stronger through shared challenges and achievements. Maya's romantic life had also been affected by her entrepreneurial focus, with several relationships ending due to the demands of building and leading CareConnect. She had recently begun dating a fellow healthcare technology entrepreneur who understood the pressures and responsibilities of building companies in the heavily regulated healthcare sector. The relationship provided emotional support and intellectual partnership that Maya had been missing during the intense years of CareConnect's development and expansion. Having a partner who understood the healthcare technology industry meant Maya could share both challenges and successes with someone who appreciated their significance and complexity. Maya's financial success from CareConnect's acquisition had provided security and freedom that enabled her to take calculated risks with new ventures and investments. She had purchased a home in Portland's Hills overlooking the city where she had first developed CareConnect, creating a space that reflected her values while providing retreat from the demands of business leadership. The home included a dedicated office where Maya continued to work on strategic projects and investment activities, surrounded by mementos from CareConnect's journey and reminders of the families whose lives had been improved by the platform. Maya found inspiration in these tangible connections to CareConnect's impact while planning future ventures and investments. Maya's wealth had also enabled her to significantly expand her foundation's activities, providing scholarships and mentorship opportunities for hundreds of young women pursuing technology education and entrepreneurship. The foundation had established partnerships with universities and nonprofit organizations across the country, creating pathways for underrepresented students to access technology education and entrepreneurial resources. The foundation's impact extended beyond individual scholarships to include curriculum development, mentorship programs, and research initiatives focused on increasing diversity in technology entrepreneurship. Maya's personal involvement in foundation activities provided fulfillment that complemented her business achievements while creating opportunities for the next generation of diverse technology leaders. Looking toward the future, Maya envisioned continuing to expand CareConnect's capabilities while supporting other entrepreneurs who are developing innovative solutions to healthcare challenges. The artificial intelligence features represented just the beginning of how technology could proactively improve healthcare delivery, and Maya was excited about the potential for continued innovation in patient care coordination. Maya's long-term vision included the possibility of spinning out new companies focused on specific healthcare populations or technology applications that emerged from CareConnect's research and development activities.
These ventures could address unmet needs while maintaining the user-centered design principles and social impact focus that had driven CareConnect's success. The healthcare technology sector continued to evolve rapidly, with new opportunities emerging from advances in artificial intelligence, telemedicine, and personalized medicine. Maya's experience building CareConnect provided valuable perspective on how to navigate regulatory challenges, build authentic healthcare provider relationships, and develop technology solutions that genuinely improved patient outcomes rather than simply digitizing existing processes. Maya's story had become a case study in business schools and entrepreneurship programs, illustrating the challenges and opportunities associated with building healthcare technology companies while managing complex family dynamics and competitive threats. Students analyzed her decision-making throughout CareConnect's development, debating alternative approaches to various challenges she had encountered. Maya occasionally guest lectured in these academic programs, sharing insights about entrepreneurship, healthcare technology development, and the personal challenges of building a successful company. These interactions with students and faculty provided fresh perspectives on her experiences while contributing to education programs that were developing the next generation of healthcare technology leaders. The case study analysis of Maya's journey consistently highlighted several key factors in CareConnect's success: deep understanding of user needs, commitment to iterative development based on user feedback, strategic protection of business relationships, and persistence through setbacks and criticism. These principles had guided Maya's decision-making throughout CareConnect's development and continue to inform her approach to new ventures and investments. Maya's experience also demonstrated the importance of building strong professional relationships and seeking advice from experienced mentors and advisors. The guidance she had received from her investors, attorney, and industry mentors had been crucial in navigating complex business challenges and avoiding potential pitfalls that could have undermined CareConnect's success. The legal proceedings against Rachel and Bradley had taught Maya valuable lessons about protecting intellectual property and business relationships from interference, even when that interference came from family members. These experiences had informed her advice to other entrepreneurs about the importance of documentation, clear boundaries, and professional legal guidance when dealing with potential threats to business operations. Maya's reflection on her entrepreneurial journey emphasized the significance of surrounding yourself with people who support your vision regardless of immediate outcomes or visible success metrics. The friends, mentors, and colleagues who had encouraged her during CareConnect's early development have proven to be more valuable than those who had waited to offer support until success was apparent. The transformation in Rachel's perspective, from initial mockery to desperate investment attempts to eventual appreciation for CareConnect's value, illustrated how success often reveals the true nature of relationships and motivations. Maya had learned to distinguish between authentic support and conditional encouragement based on personal benefit or social positioning. Maya's story resonated with entrepreneurs across various industries who faced skepticism about their ideas or interference from people close to them. The combination of family conflict, business success, and personal growth provided a compelling narrative that demonstrated both the challenges and rewards of pursuing entrepreneurial ventures despite obstacles and criticism. The healthcare technology sector had been transformed during the years since CareConnect's initial development, with patient care coordination becoming a recognized priority for healthcare systems worldwide. Maya's early recognition of this opportunity and persistent execution of her vision had positioned CareConnect as a leader in a market that had grown from nascent to essential in less than a decade. Maya's influence on the healthcare technology sector extended beyond CareConnect's direct market to include her role in educating healthcare providers about the potential for technology to improve patient outcomes. Many healthcare executives credited Maya's presentations and demonstrations with helping them understand how patient care coordination platforms could enhance their operations while improving patient satisfaction. The adoption of CareConnect by major healthcare systems had created demonstration sites that other organizations could visit to observe the platform's impact on care delivery and administrative efficiency. These reference sites had been crucial in accelerating market adoption and establishing patient care coordination as a standard component of comprehensive healthcare technology infrastructure. Maya's vision for the future of healthcare technology emphasized the integration of multiple platforms and data sources to create comprehensive health management ecosystems that could support patients throughout their healthcare journeys. This integrated approach could potentially eliminate many of the coordination challenges that had originally motivated CareConnect's development, while enabling more personalized and proactive healthcare delivery. Maya's long-term vision included the possibility of spinning out new companies focused on specific healthcare populations or technology applications that emerged from CareConnect's research and development activities. These ventures could address unmet needs while maintaining the user-centered design principles and social impact focus that had driven CareConnect's success. The healthcare technology sector continued to evolve rapidly, with new opportunities emerging from advances in artificial intelligence, telemedicine, and personalized medicine. Maya's experience building CareConnect provided valuable perspective on how to navigate regulatory challenges, build authentic healthcare provider relationships, and develop technology solutions that genuinely improved patient outcomes rather than simply digitizing existing processes. Maya's story had become a case study in business schools and entrepreneurship programs, illustrating the challenges and opportunities associated with building healthcare technology companies while managing complex family dynamics and competitive threats. Students analyzed her decision-making throughout CareConnect's development, debating alternative approaches to various challenges she had encountered. Maya occasionally guest lectured in these academic programs, sharing insights about entrepreneurship, healthcare technology development, and the personal challenges of building a successful company. These interactions with students and faculty provided fresh perspectives on her experiences while contributing to education programs that were developing the next generation of healthcare technology leaders. The case study analysis of Maya's journey consistently highlighted several key factors in CareConnect's success: deep understanding of user needs, commitment to iterative development based on user feedback, strategic protection of business relationships, and persistence through setbacks and criticism. These principles had guided Maya's decision-making throughout CareConnect's development and continued to inform her approach to new ventures and investments. Maya's experience also demonstrated the importance of building strong professional relationships and seeking.
The artificial intelligence capabilities being integrated into CareConnect represented early steps toward this comprehensive vision, enabling predictive interventions and automated coordination that could prevent problems before they affected patient care. Maya anticipated that continued advances in machine learning and data analytics would enable even more sophisticated applications that could fundamentally transform healthcare delivery. Maya's entrepreneurial success had provided her with a platform to advocate for policies and practices that could improve healthcare access and quality for underserved populations. She regularly testified before legislative committees and regulatory agencies about the potential for technology to address healthcare disparities while emphasizing the importance of ensuring that digital solutions didn't inadvertently exclude vulnerable populations. Through her policy advocacy and foundation activities, Maya was working to ensure that the benefits of healthcare technology innovation were distributed equitably across different demographic groups and geographic regions. This commitment to health equity reflected her belief that successful businesses had obligations to contribute to social progress rather than simply generating financial returns. Maya's impact on healthcare technology had been recognized through her election to the board of directors of the Healthcare Information and Management Systems Society, one of the most influential organizations in the healthcare technology sector. This leadership role provided Maya with opportunities to shape industry standards and advocate for policies that supported innovation while protecting patient interests. The board position also connected Maya with other healthcare technology leaders who were working on complementary innovations in areas such as electronic health records, telemedicine, and clinical decision support systems. These relationships facilitated collaboration opportunities that could enhance CareConnect's capabilities while contributing to broader improvements in healthcare technology interoperability. Maya's involvement in industry leadership reflected her evolution from focused entrepreneur to influential advocate for healthcare technology innovation and social impact. The transition had required developing new skills in policy analysis, stakeholder management, and organizational leadership that complemented her technical and business expertise. As Maya prepared for CareConnect's upcoming expansion into Asian markets, she reflected on how the platform's core principles of user-centered design and family-focused care coordination would translate across different cultural contexts. The international expansion would require significant adaptation of CareConnect's features and interfaces to accommodate varying family structures, communication preferences, and healthcare system organization. Maya's team had spent months researching healthcare delivery patterns in target Asian markets, identifying opportunities to adapt CareConnect's functionality for different cultural and regulatory environments. The research revealed interesting variations in how families approached healthcare coordination and the role of technology in medical decision-making across different countries. The Asian expansion represented both an opportunity to serve new patient populations and a challenge to maintain CareConnect's effectiveness while adapting to diverse cultural and regulatory requirements. Maya was excited about the potential to improve healthcare coordination for millions of additional families while learning from different approaches to healthcare delivery and technology adoption. Maya's international business development efforts had attracted attention from healthcare technology investors and strategic partners, who recognized the global potential for patient care coordination platforms. Several international healthcare organizations had expressed interest in licensing CareConnect's technology for adaptation to their local markets and regulatory environments. These partnership opportunities could accelerate CareConnect's international expansion while providing insights into global healthcare coordination challenges that could inform future product development. Maya was particularly interested in partnerships that could provide access to diverse patient populations and healthcare delivery models that could enhance CareConnect's effectiveness and adaptivity. Maya's global perspective on healthcare technology had been shaped by her involvement in international conferences and research collaborations that explored how different healthcare systems approached patient care coordination. These experiences had reinforced her belief that while healthcare delivery varied significantly across countries, the fundamental challenges of coordinating complex care for patients and families were remarkably consistent. The universal nature of healthcare coordination challenges suggested that CareConnect's core functionality could be adapted for diverse markets while maintaining its essential value proposition of simplifying healthcare navigation for patients and families. Maya was confident that the platform's user-centered design principles would translate effectively across cultural and linguistic boundaries. As Maya looked toward the future, she envisioned CareConnect continuing to evolve as a comprehensive healthcare coordination ecosystem that could support patients throughout their entire healthcare journeys. The platform's artificial intelligence capabilities would become increasingly sophisticated, enabling predictive interventions that could prevent health complications while reducing healthcare costs and improving patient outcomes. Maya's personal journey from skeptical family dinner conversations to international healthcare technology leadership demonstrated the potential for persistence and vision to overcome obstacles and create meaningful impact. The path had required difficult decisions about relationships and priorities, but it had ultimately provided opportunities for personal growth and social contribution that exceeded Maya's original expectations. The lessons learned during CareConnect's development continued to inform Maya's approach to new ventures and investments, emphasizing the importance of authentic user engagement, iterative development based on feedback, and protection of core business interests from potential interference. These principles had proven valuable across different business contexts and technology applications. Maya's story served as inspiration for entrepreneurs who faced skepticism about their ideas or pressure to abandon their visions in favor of more conventional paths. The transformation from Rachel's laughter at a business idea to international recognition of CareConnect's impact provided a satisfying narrative of validation and vindication that resonated with anyone who had persisted through doubt and criticism. The healthcare technology sector continued to offer opportunities for entrepreneurs who could identify unmet needs and develop solutions that genuinely improved patient care while navigating complex regulatory and business challenges. Maya's success with CareConnect demonstrated that significant impact was possible for those willing to commit to long-term vision and persistent execution despite obstacles and setbacks. Maya's influence on healthcare technology would likely extend for decades through the platform she had built, the entrepreneurs she had mentored, and the policies she had helped shape. CareConnect's impact on millions of families represents a lasting contribution to healthcare improvement that would continue benefiting patients long after Maya's direct involvement in the platform's development. As Maya prepared for her next chapter of entrepreneurial and investment activities, she remained grateful for the journey that had transformed a simple observation about healthcare coordination challenges into a platform that was improving lives around the world. The personal costs and challenges had been significant, but the opportunity to create meaningful impact while building a successful business had provided fulfillment that validated every difficult decision and challenging moment along the way.
Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out.